Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about this project I've been working on recently, which is a Python-based algorithmic trading bot. Now, if that sounded like a mouthful of bullshit words, it's because it was. No, I'm just kidding. So, what I essentially aimed to do was I wanted to create a trading bot that would trade stocks for me once a day based on an algorithm, and I would never have to touch it, and it would make me money. Great idea, right? Now you might be wondering, where's the inspiration for this project coming from? Well, let me tell you. If you are of Asian or South Asian descent, then you will understand that every father will constantly send their children emails on how to not be a failure. I shall populate some examples here. When I came out of the womb, he sent me an email telling me to not be a financial failure. But I persevered. The inspiration for this project came from wanting to get my father off my back and stop sending me emails about not being a failure. Over and over again, I get these emails, probably like twice a week. I had this idea. I was like, maybe I should figure out a way, because I certainly don't want to learn it. Maybe I should figure out a way to have a algorithm trade stocks for me. Plenty of people do it. Can't be that hard. Now, I did a lot of reading. I found a platform called essentially, I found a platform called Alpaca. I started looking at this API. What I needed to figure out was how to build an algorithm, and two, a database, because a project like this is going to require some sort of engine to function as well as fuel. So the engine would be any code that I write in Python, and the database would act as the fuel that fuels the Python code. So the algorithm that I built in Python will need loads of data depending on what algorithm I choose, and it will need that data continuously, so that data will have to be updated as well as populated with historical data. I wanted to set up a database with historical data on every stock that's in the NASDAQ and the NYSE, which are two of the biggest stock exchanges in America. I decided to use the TD Ameritrade price history endpoint because I think it gives you something like 20 to 30 different individual pieces of information about any security and its history. I used that to populate my initial table, and then I had a function written to use the same scraping technique used to find the historical data, but to get daily data. So every day at market close, I have a script that will scrape all of the stocks again, and then look at their current day's close price and all of the data for the day, and then append it to that table. My table has all of historical data up to about, I think it's 130 trade days, and then every single day a new entry gets added for each stock. So this table already has like 600,000 rows for, I think it's like 140 days of trade data so far. So it's a pretty large table, but it's really not that large in terms of big data. So I began writing some code in Python that would allow me to plug and play different algorithms and keep the same base trading functionality. After looking at today's trades that were made, that there are some pitfalls in my current logic that I would like to modify. So because of that, I'm going to call this video part 1 of this series, I guess. The first test week that I ran was with a $25,000 account. So how does this algorithm work? So basically, like I said before, every day at market close, all the close prices for all approximately 7,500 stocks that I have in my universe are scraped from the web. All of their related trading data for that day, which is those 20 to 30 data points, are entered into a BigQuery table that has a very strict schema, and you can interface this database by using SQL. Every morning at around 8:55 a.m. before market opens, currently what the algorithm is doing is querying that table, doing its calculation based off of the selection algorithm that I have in place, and then what it's doing afterwards is executing anywhere between 0 to 20 buy sells, and that number comes from my portfolio size. After everything's been selected, the buy sells are executed, and after the buy sells are executed, the portfolio updates. I ran this algorithm in this very same way for 1 week. Initially, I saw a small loss of about 2% in the portfolio over the first 2 days. However, by the end of the day, the portfolio had rallied and was at an approximate 10.2% return, which is absolutely crazy, because that annualized is actually around 3,000%. That's just ridiculous. What's the trade-off here? You have a 3,000% return. That means that you're turning thousands into hundreds of thousands. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you're right, because the volatility of my portfolio was insanely high. It was insanely high. So while in 1 week on a $25,000 account, I was able to make 2.5 grand, that doesn't mean that I'm making 2.5 grand every week. In fact, I'm running that same algorithm this week. I've only made 2 sets of trades this week. So far, as you can see, my portfolio is not doing very well. Over the course of the week so far, we have lost almost $100. The results don't really mean much at this point. For those statistic nerds out there, my N is very small, which is why I'm going to continue testing this and why this is the first video in the series. This was something that I was really excited to work on, and I've been working on it for a couple weeks now, and I feel like I'm at the point where I can make some sort of video out of it because I just want to share this project with you guys. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not turning into like a full-blown coder, software development channel, but I would like to include several things of my life that I find interesting and be able to share that with you guys, because at the end of the day, that's what my YouTube's about. To recap, I built a bot because my dad is super Asian and didn't want me to fail financially in life, and this allows me to not get emails from him about finances. So everyone's winning, right? If you guys enjoyed this content and this video, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments, what would you like me to explain, or what would you like to see out of this project? And if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. If you guys want to support me, then consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out. It helps me because I get to see the number go up, and the number is very important to my happiness. Subscribe, please. Please subscribe.